Welcome back to State of Sonder. Today I have on Andrew Osborn. And I met Andrew late last year at an event that my friends were throwing. And he had a camera in his hand and was running around taking photos of everyone. And he just had the biggest smile on his face the entire time and was just radiating such positive energy. And so we got to chatting and I invited him on the podcast and he was so graciously willing. We actually tried to schedule this a few times and then it kept getting pushed out. But when we actually shot the episode, I think it was like the perfect timing, which we kind of get into. But Andrew has such an interesting journey. He has done so many different things and we talk about it all. But also he was just so open and willing to talk about certain hardships that he's faced and how he navigated through that time and what he learned, which I so appreciated. Andrew is so well-spoken, and something that I learned from him through this episode was just his mental fortitude and his strength to be able to bounce back from really tough seasons and just have so much faith in himself, which I found so admirable and inspiring. And I am so excited to share this episode with you all, so let's get into it. Hi, Andrew. Welcome to State of Sonder.
So excited to be here.
How have you been? Okay, I haven't seen you since the warehouse party, which
Correct.
was, when was that?
Ooh, like
October?
early, yeah.
October or
perhaps.
November?
I think it would have been like, I check my calendar. We can solve this right now.
I think it was November because it was raining. So basically,
Yes.
like, long story short, we were all supposed to go camping for our FloJo event. And then 2 days before, we had really, really bad rain.
Yes.
And we were like, what the fuck? We've been planning this for months. And were you going to go to the camping trip?
Yes. So I'm friends with Howie, who played
Right.
one of the earlier sets. He and I jammed together and play a lot of music. So that was like my only in, was really Howie was playing, reached out to a group of us who had all played together. It was like, you guys should come. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll be there. And he was like, it's my first set. And I was like, I'll be there with my camera.
Oh my
'Cause I wanted to take
gosh.
a bunch of photos.
I was so bummed because I was looking forward to it so much. And then basically it got rained out. So then with 48 hours, we like found a warehouse, flipped the warehouse, then
That's so
brought all
crazy.
of the equipment in and we just like had a party and it was so fun. But that's where I met you. You were
Yes.
like running around with your camera
Pretty
and I
much.
was like, who is this guy?
It's a very easy social situation solver because I'm like, I know nobody here, but there's going to be great music. And I was like, gosh, if I was playing my first DJ set ever, A, I'd want my friends there.
Yeah.
And B, having like a photo or something of me doing it would be so cool. So I was
my
like,
God,
if
that's
not
amazing.
me, who else?
So how have you been since then? Like, how were the holidays for you? Oh, wait, this is going to come out kind of later. So the holidays are going to be far away. But what has been happening in life recently?
In life recently, we've been it's been odd. I didn't expect to still be in LA right now, actually. So I
Oh.
had left a job back in June that made me really miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that full-time freelancing is something I'd done on top of that job. And then I lost a really big contract back in August. That was kind of like a lifeline for me. So I was like, okay, I know how much money I need to kind of live here. I know how much I'm making a month right now purely on freelancing. That math didn't really look like it was going to, my runway was pretty short. I probably had like 4 to 5 months. And if I got below a certain dollar amount, no questions asked, I was going to have to move back to the Midwest. And then it's funny, I like keep like looking up at the end of every month and the number is not really changing. So our runway just keeps extending.
Wait, that's awesome.
So
Okay.
Turns out we can do it.
I love that. So before we get into like what
Sure,
you're
sure.
currently doing, because your trajectory, which I'm so grateful because you sent me that like little
Yeah,
notes
yeah.
of like your journey and it was like I was reading it and I was like, wait, what? So let's kind of go back. So you're from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yes. Born and raised Midwest, Ohio.
You know what's funny? I know a lot of people from Ohio that like came here.
I guess, yeah.
There's like a big community of people from Ohio, but
Everywhere you go.
yeah, but so, okay, I do want to ask because I grew up very close to Los Angeles. And so I've always been in like really, really major cities, like either LA or New York.
Yeah.
But I would love to know, growing up in Cincinnati, like, did you always have this kind of vision of like wanting to leave, or did that kind of come later? Like, what was that, your upbringing like, and like your journey when it came to like seeing your...
Yeah, for sure. Gosh, it's hard to say. I mean, so to clarify, I grew up in Cincinnati. I grew up on like the far northeast side in the suburbs. So probably like half an hour from like downtown. Cincinnati's kind of designed where there's like one major highway that runs north to south all the way through Ohio. And then there's like a big circle called 275. And inside of that, just inside of it, you'll have a lot of neighborhoods. And the closer you get to the very center of it, that's like downtown by the water, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the structure. So I was on the far northeast side, just outside 275 in a suburb, and then I had gone to a school a little bit farther like inside. As far as leaving Ohio, I originally thought I was going to be in college on the East Coast. And so I was like, okay, I know I want to be in a big city and I'm going to be an English major. And I kind of did not that at all. And then, gosh, it's just... I don't think I'd ever had any dreams of leaving because I got to travel so much. So it was like, it's an amazing place to call home. Cost of living is cheap. It's safe. The people and the culture is awesome in Ohio. I absolutely love it. And my Columbus fun fact, which is where I went to college at Ohio State and where I spent like my adult life before moving out here, is Columbus most accurately represents the average American. If you take average economics, politics, everything from everybody across the country, your average American is from Columbus, Ohio.
So wait, you're saying you traveled a lot, like
Yes.
even as a younger person.
I mean, it wasn't like a family vacation traveling all over. I guess my first kind of experiences traveling was for crew. I rode super competitively for a long time, and that was originally what I thought I was going to want to do in college. And then the other thing that had me traveling, and the reason why I didn't row, was video games.
Right. Okay. So before we get into this, rowing, how did that start? Because you were D1, like gonna go to UPenn.
I had an offer to row at UPenn, and that's why I was like, perfect, go there, East Coast, be an English major, go row. They're an amazing program. I was like, I want to do that. And then I had kind of changed my mind at the moment because I had two major fears. Number one was get injured, lose a scholarship, and UPenn is very expensive.
Yeah.
And sort of the second fear was like going there. I loved the rowing culture in the boathouse, but like I didn't feel super connected to the physical space and like the people. Like I looked around and I didn't really look or feel like a UPenn kind of person. So in the back of my head, those were two big fears that kind of helped drive me away. And then once I had the gaming kind of opportunities, that was a big factor involved in the decision between the two.
So were you always kind of like in high school and stuff and growing up simultaneously doing like rowing and gaming? Like
sort of, yeah. I think I had grown up. I wasn't allowed to play my first shooter until I was like 14 or so. It's like I didn't grow up playing like Halo in the basement with my friends or anything. I played racing and flying games because they were like teen rated. I remember Destiny, it's a niche video game. Destiny came out and that was rated teen, and I was like, I can play it, let's go. So that was like one of my longest played games. But my dad's a big gamer, and my little sister as well would love to game with us. So kind of the three of us played a lot of video games growing up. Lego Star Wars on the Wii, like everything you can name. Kind of grew up around it, but didn't play my first like competitive kind of shooter until I was 14-ish. And then I ended up going to my first LAN event and making a pro debut at like 17. So it was like, you don't want me to play video games, Mom? Watch this.
Wait, there's so much to unpack here.
I know.
So, okay, for one, how did you kind of get into that gaming circuit at such a young age? Like, how does that process work?
A lot of it is, so back then especially, this would have been like 2017, 2019 era. Gaming wasn't like really very popular yet, especially in like more like Western spaces with like competitive gaming. We didn't have as big of a market around it. Call of Duty was kind of big, Halo was kind of big, but it wasn't in the media really the way it is now. Really, it was really nice because the game that I competed in was called Gears of War. It's a very small, pretty niche community. It was backed by Microsoft, so it had a decent amount of money, enough to like do a full, proper, professional broadcast and go to different cities around North America. But it really wasn't that big of a community. So for me, it was kind of just like meet people, go out, be really good at the game, and then just kind of socialize and make the people around me better. Because in that state of gaming, like, it's not like baseball or other sports where the analytics are so detailed and there's an objective best way to go about it. It really is like, I like playing with this person and we win a lot, no questions asked. Problem is, if you start to lose, then it all is kind of wishy-washy. I jump from this team to that team. I leave these people. Like, culturally is really the only significance. Like, if you're good enough to kind of be in that circle, you're good enough. And then from there, it's just navigating the culture.
So is it like, do you have to like try out for the team?
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
There's kind of, there's something called game battles, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. RIP game battles. It's essentially an internet forum where like you get set up with matches and you play against other people.
Okay.
And so then, but you have an account and it's public so people can see how good you are or how often you've won. So it's the most common way that people break out in like FPS gaming is you play against pros who are always queuing these like game battle online matches and you just smoke them. And they go, wait, like I don't lose. I'm one of the better players in the world. I just lost to somebody. Who was that name? And if that happens a couple times in a row and they see you on social media, all of a sudden you're on the radar. And that's sort of what happened to me.
Got it. Okay. So then you're like going to go to college and you have these like two paths, right?
Yes.
You have the D1 UPenn, which UPenn is an incredible school, obviously. And then you had Ohio State with going like the gaming route.
So the reason it was Ohio State was kind of the opposite fears that I had about UPenn, which was I'm an Ohioan. I love it here. I feel like I'm at home here. I look around at the people and I'm like, I feel like I'm one of you. That and in-state tuition with like testing and scholarships was like super manageable. So not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, I didn't have a career path that like really drove me in a specific direction. So I was like, okay, the best thing that I can do is go to a university where everything's possible. I can go be a vet. I can go be a freaking pilot, astronaut. I can go be an accountant. Like I can go be a nurse. Like all these programs are offered at Ohio State because it's such a massive university. And I could keep my debt super low. So just trying to keep the door open for as long as possible while I figured it out was probably the biggest motivator for eventually going to Ohio State, going like, instead of taking a very clear, specific, direct path that I sometimes regret not taking, but instead going, I actually don't know what I want yet or what's going to be good. Let's just keep the door open and stick around and see what happens.
I mean, like that requires a lot of faith because I feel like, I mean, I'm Korean, and so like having Asian parents, like to have an Ivy League and an offer, it's like you're going there, you know? So like, I also think like you had such a specific thing, like a specific skill set to go there, and I'm curious to know like when you were. I don't even know if you'll remember at that time, like the internal battle that you might have been experiencing in making such a decision.
It was tough.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
My dad has a master's in mechanical engineering from Cornell.
Oh.
My mother has a master's in health education and taught middle school health in like inner city Syracuse, New York. My little sister is a pilot. She flies for Delta and has a master's. She's finishing up her master's at 22. Awesome. So she's badass.
Yeah.
She and I are incredibly close. But my whole family, very education focused. I got moved out of public school in 5th grade and put into private school because I just caused a lot of problems. I was bored too easily and had fun in the classroom. They were like, we need something to slow it down, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
I love that experience. But it was really tough. Like talking to my parents about it and being like, hey, I want to go do this. And even before it was a decision to like step away from rowing and competing, I was a super anxious person. Like there was not a competition, gaming or rowing, for a decade where I didn't throw up like right before. Like I'd be carrying my boat down to the water, like throwing up all over the dock, getting in the boat and going out and being great. So it was really just like this obstacle of my body like rejecting and being so nervous and getting so nauseous, and then if I could like throw up, I guess that was my body's way of going like
releasing,
like, got it out, we're in control, shut up brain, and now we're good. And it was instant relief. So it's definitely like psychosomatic. I don't know enough about psychology to really sit down and talk about it. I spent a good bit of time in therapy completely unrelated to that. And I kind of just like it became a part of my life. But I never had that with gaming. I always was incredibly nervous, but that like physical response never manifested, which was odd because I was actually like competing for like a lot of money and like on stages in front of thousands of people. Like no one goes to watch like a regatta, really, especially at Ohio. Like I was an endurance athlete my whole life. Before rowing, it was running. In those sports, like there's no way to measure progress really outside of like speed. You're doing the identical motion in both of those sports, just millions of times over the years, and nobody's watching. Like I remember wanting desperately to go play basketball, go be a small forward in front of like all my teammates and like win, like in front of my school. I remember desperately wanting that kind of validation and whatnot, and kind of like having that desire and being rejected from it. Really, I think kind of conditioned a lot about what's made me successful now. That went off in a way different direction.
But I love this. This is like all like I told you before. I was like, I love going on tangents.
But like the sports and competition where I come from has like massively shaped how I like manage my own work and like my careers. All come from endurance athletics and kind of the same mindset of I don't know where I'm going to go. Let's just take the path that has the most opportunity, but the most sustainability.
Yeah.
Like, let's be really, really smart with our money. Let's be really smart with our time. And if I don't know where I'm going to go, let's just make sure I can keep going for as long as possible.
Where do you think that kind of like mentality and mindset came from? Because I feel like when, especially at a younger age, I feel like it's hard to, that's like kind of like a mature way of thinking. And I feel like sometimes when you're young, like especially for me, when I was young, I was like, the sky is the limit. I'm going to do whatever I want. And, you know, like you don't think about like finances and all of that. But if you're ironing out all of these decisions based on so many different factors that I feel like when you're young, you don't really think about, like, where do you think that kind of came from?
I think it was like, I have a very, very logical brain. I'm a very rational, logical person. I struggle thinking with like the emotional side of my brain. Like when I go to therapy, I will not see a male therapist. I just won't. Because I don't need help with that.
That's funny because I have a male therapist.
Like I need to go talk with like the more emotional side of my body and my brain. But for me, I think it really came from just sort of a similar kind of perspective, oddly enough, of like, I can do anything. Sky's the limit. I have no fear. I've got a really big sense of self and like an ego of like, I can do this. But I don't think it was a sense of ego of like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I can do it. I think the opposite is I never thought I couldn't. I guess the household I was raised in, I had done so many things as a kid growing up. Like name a sport outside of football, I've like played it or like tried it. Like I got to sail a couple times. I fenced for a little bit. I've played squash. I played hockey as a little kid in Ohio. Like I've done so many things that I guess the way that I was like nurtured and conditioned, especially in school, was like, it wasn't like I'm the best, I can do everything, but it was like, there was no thought of like, I can't do this. It was just, there's no preparation. It was just, you go and do it and then you see. So I was never really stuck in my head around the preparation. It was just like, do it, keep doing it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
It's like, at least try kind of
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very natural, I guess, the way I was wired and my personality. It was like, I'm going to go do it. And let's see if it like totally blows up. This is going to be awesome. Like that was like the excitement, the curiosity.
Yeah.
Like, that was just, I was so not afraid to be wrong. I was not afraid to fail just from like a young age. Like, raise my hand in the classroom, 100% wrong. Wrong perspective, didn't know what was going on. And I'd be like, dope.
But that's awesome. That is like honestly so hard for a lot of people. But I think that when you do that, like so many opportunities open up, things that you didn't expect. And also it's just like that confidence within yourself. And like you just live life a little bit more free, which I think, which now hearing all this like makes me understand so much of like how your trajectory has been throughout your life. And so like, okay, so you decided to go the gaming route and you were doing competitive gaming for a little bit.
Yes.
So how was that experience? And then you kind of retired at a certain point. So what was that journey?
So the experience was awesome. I remember at a certain point in time, I just like wasn't good enough to keep competing. The time and hours it would take me to be at the level of the best in the world was just not enough that I was like able to do. But I got to transition into coaching shortly after that. So it was awesome because I could be in the room. I was involved. The cerebral part of my brain was one of my stronger suits, and my personality and like presence on the stage next to people was a strong part of me. Quite honestly, I was probably one of the worst actual players to ever step foot on a stage, but gosh darn it, if I didn't bring the people around me up. So I got into coaching, and then that was incredible. Competing, got to travel, most notable placements for all you esports nerds. I got T4 and back-to-back majors in San Diego and Mexico City. Hive Gaming, look us up. There's a lot of
I'm
hours.
literally like, what?
There's a lot of hours of me on the internet out there being an idiot. And then the other thing I forgot to talk about earlier was like the community culture side of it. I tweeted 32,000 times in 7 years.
Wow.
So that's about 11 tweets a day for 7 years straight in a community that, like, whether or not they wanted me, they were going to get me.
Oh, wow. You were
Granted,
on
it wasn't like original tweets. I wasn't like 1, 2, 3, like 11 times. That included replies. But like that was the level of engagement where I was like, I like these people. I love this world. I'm going to talk about me. I'm going to ask other people questions. I was lifeguarding at the time. So after I got off lifeguarding, where you just sit there all day, get in the car, turn the camera on, drive home and talk, post that. Like literally tweeted 32-ish thousand times across 7 years. So that's like a really weird back tangent, but that's like
how engaged you were.
How engaged I was, what it meant to me, that sense of community, something I'd felt had been lacking in my life prior. So it didn't matter what I was doing. I was going to be a part of that community and on those stages.
Yeah.
And then COVID came around, which meant we stopped having in-person events. There were still online competitions, but it was like a year ago, if you'd asked me, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And now I'm like, I can do anything. There's room to find out what haven't I done yet. So I kind of stopped competing, and that was a really, really hard part of my life because that was just so much of my identity. And I didn't really realize it until I walked away, and I was like, gosh, I don't do anything that's like meaningful anymore.
I mean, but like
who am I if I'm not the Gears of War kid?
I think though, like building that kind of community, it's just like, it's such a beautiful thing. And like once you have that, and I think that's just like in life as well, when you like with my friends, I'm like, that's my community, you know. And like as much as you are your individual person, like you do identify with that. And I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think that's going to be a chapter of your life that you're always going to look back on and think of like fondly.
Absolutely.
But like once you left, I mean, do you think if COVID didn't happen, you would have just stayed in it?
It would have depended like how long I could have been on, like in the cultural community. Could I be good enough to be on the stages? Could I be involved? Like, who knows?
Even as a coach,
who's to say? Well, yeah, because the coaching side of it is like also there's lots of debates, especially in that era of gaming, like pre-COVID, where it wasn't really big yet. Not a lot of coaches brought a ton of actual value to their teams. It was really just another set of eyes to help clarify conflict and bring a ton of energy. Both things, excellent conflict management, tons of energy. I was really good at that. But if you don't win, like you're really not making enough money. Split 5 ways, sent to the org, taxes. Like I probably made pennies, maybe less than that, on the amount of hours I put in. And like we made a lot of money. So it's not sustainable. It's a young person's thing. I think the weirdest part for me was like, especially at that time of my life, it felt like the most massive, biggest thing ever to touch my life and ever would. And I look back and it was like a 2-year period of like actually getting to do it, you know, a couple of years leading up to it, trying to break out. But
and esports was like, it was like fairly newer then, right? Yeah.
Especially in like North American culture, like we didn't have like a really big history of it. I mean, there was tons of Dota and League of Legends and more like East Hemisphere. Is that North or South? I don't know. Not North America. Europe had Counter-Strike forever. Lots of other places had like Dota, League of Legends, crazy tournaments like the International. Like there's all these massive cultures that had it. And the West was kind of just like FPS, Halo, Call of Duty a little bit. It's grown a lot since then, especially with like Valorant, Rocket League, our horrible CS. But it's grown a lot since then. I attribute it to the first time my mom talked to me about gaming, like bringing something to the table, was seeing Ninja on like ABC News. So Ninja was a massive streamer who like really when Fortnite first started to blow up, he was like the biggest streamer, and he was kind of the first person to enter like traditional mainstream white mom in suburb Ohio go, oh, that's a gamer. Like really represented, not like you're joking Dorito Mountain Dew basement fat guy. So that was like the really big cultural turning point. And then COVID comes around, everybody's stuck indoors. all of a sudden no one can do anything but game.
Yeah, gaming boomed during
gaming
COVID.
boomed like crazy. Like there's iRacing on television, not real racing because they
Yeah.
couldn't. So that culturally was massive. From an economics perspective, gaming is not really profitable. It's so expensive to pay these players, and you're basically just paying for marketing exposure. So it's really not profitable, but the VC boom in that time was massive. They injected millions of dollars into gaming. Then you come out of COVID, you're not getting the same viewership. It's not sustainable. There's this bubble that kind of pops. And now gaming is scaling back massively from a competitive side, from the casual enjoyment, cultural, play Fortnite with your friends, load up 2K on the PlayStation, bigger than ever. And in my opinion, will continue to keep growing.
I think it's just I actually did PR. My first job was PR for gaming.
No way.
Yeah, gaming companies. I'm not a gamer at all, but like it's the industry that will continue like
Forever.
through everything. Yeah.
Forever. I'm pretty sure it's bigger. I forget the exact stat, but I'm pretty sure the gaming industry is bigger than movies and music combined.
Oh, wow.
Pretty sure.
I mean, I believe it. And
it's global. Gaming does not care how much money you have as long as you can get the game.
Yeah.
It does not care how much money you have. It does not care how old you are. It doesn't care where you're from, what your gender is, any part of your life. Gaming does not care. Everybody gets on the video game, has the same tools and the same rules.
Yeah.
And I think that's what appealed to me when I was searching for a sense of validation. If I was good at the game, that was it, period.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you could talk about. I'm great, and there's no way to disprove that.
Yeah.
I think that was very validating for me as a young person. Not feeling like I had a sense of cultural validation or social validation in my immediate concrete group. So going out into the internet and getting to go and do that and chase it of like, you can't take that away from me. Making friends, building out this community. For me, I think that was, the massive driver behind making that decision instead of going and being an athlete and whatnot in college, which ironically probably would have given me the same
I think
sense
so too,
of
yeah.
like measurable athletics, a close community sacrificing together. I probably would have had similar experiences, but who's to say?
You trust your gut and you follow
yeah.
that path. But so, okay, after you then retired from gaming,
Yes.
then okay, you put this note in, and I just have to know where you lived in a frat house with like
Yes.
26 people.
Correct.
What?
So at Ohio State, I would never consider myself a fraternity man. Never in high school ever thought about it. I ended up founding a fraternity called Pi Lambda Phi at Ohio State.
Founded.
Yeah, I was one of the founding class of
Okay.
the fraternity at Ohio State. So there's an international, they're IFC, so they're all over. There's Pi Lambs all over the country. But Ohio State, we founded a chapter of it, myself, and I guess at the time it eventually turned into 60 other people. And we had a really big house. We had a house of 26 people. So it was like 24 rooms, 26 guys. I lived there my sophomore year, my junior year. I moved into an annex, so a house of 8 of the brothers, my senior year. And then after I graduated, again on the longevity, holy crap, what am I doing with my life? I don't know what's going on. I moved back into the house as the house dad. So I got free rent and a food stipend. I had 26 sons. I was really close with the fire department.
Oh my goodness.
So, but that fraternity was incredible. We kind of founded it because I think a defining trait of all the Pi Lambs at Ohio State, at least when I was there years ago, was none of us would have been in a different frat if we weren't in Pi Lam. And I think that really was the defining trait of like, we want to go out, go spend a couple $1,000s, throw some stupid party with a ton of people, have a great time, but also not just be surrounded by a bunch of like meatheads or a bunch of people who have like different priorities and goals than we did.
Yeah.
It's like one of the requirements we had in the fraternity is you had to be in good active standing of another club outside of the fraternity. So you had to be in like a robotics club. I played club frisbee for Ohio State. Like you had to be in good standing with another club. We had great GPA. I mean, there's a ton of other requirements that we did, and we kept our dues super low because having like socioeconomic diversity was super important. And I mean, there's fraternity houses at Ohio State where you can have like a grand piano and an elevator in your frat house. Those are very expensive and predominantly, almost exclusively, just really rich white guys.
Right.
So that experience was much, much different for us. Like even in a 26 person massive house that was like really gorgeous, I think rent was like $800 a month or something. Like doable.
That is insane. 26 people
Yes.
though. Like how do you I can't wrap my head
One
around
kitchen,
that. Like,
tons of bathrooms,
wait,
but one
seriously?
kitchen. Yeah,
That's so many personalities in a house.
it is.
And different living styles.
It was broken up by like floors. So there were 3 floors, and each floor had this like little subsection. So on the 3rd floor, you go up the stairs, you could take a left or a right. And on the right was Slant Empire, because they were at the top of the house where like a lot of the slanted roofs were. So every room had like a little slanted ceiling in it. And if you went left, you were in Breadco, which was me and a couple other people who just like were working on startups and doing software stuff, like goofing around. So that was like the 3rd floor. And then there was the 2nd floor and the 1st floor.
Weren't there like, the people that were like messy and the people that like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I can't handle that. That's like
I can't either. I live on my own. I have ever since I moved out. I'm a very clean person. I love to cook. So that was a very challenging time for me. But that sacrifice, I mean, free rent and a food stipend.
Yeah.
Choosing to move back into that house was like the best choice I could have made.
Okay, so then you did that. And
Yes.
then, okay, let's kind of like shift gears, because then was after that when you came out to LA?
Yeah. So I got a call. I got recruited to come out to LA. I had a really close friend who used to work at a different startup in this period after I graduated, spending that year and change working at 1 or 2 startups, trying to figure out what's going on. Someone that I became really close with, Maloney, he gave me a call and he was like, yo, what up? And I was like, hey. And he was like, do you like what you do right now? And I was like, kinda. And he was like, I have a job for you, but you have to move to LA. I'll see you in a week. And I was like, oh, okay.
1 week.
Dog, what? Like, whatever. Money? Question mark. And the number was good enough where I could really sit down and go, wait, I can do this. At the same point in time, I had already landed a long-term contracting gig that I actually still have with Jack in the Box. Mm-hmm. So moving to LA was like, okay, that makes sense. There are way more Jack in the Boxes in LA than Cincinnati or Columbus. And between those 2 full-time salaries, moving out to LA was like, okay, I can do this. Mm-hmm. So on a week's notice, I called up my best friend from middle school. I said, take a week off. I'll pay for all your stuff and I'll fly you home. We're driving to LA. So a week later, I had driven to LA. I slept at the office for like 2 to 3 weeks while I apartment hunted, and then moved into a place in West Hollywood that I love. And that was like a year, 20 months ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you went into like photography, media, editing,
Yes.
all of that, but like
Yes.
when did that start?
COVID.
Okay.
So as soon as I left the gaming stuff, COVID hit. I was stuck in a frat house, all quarantined together. I got tested like 9 times a week for my entire time there because we're an at-risk population.
Okay.
Realistically, we were the risk. So we had all the protocol with the university because it's like a state university.
Yeah.
It was great. Well done. But we quarantined in the house, and like I stayed in a room by myself editing for like 2 years.
Where did that kind of desire come from? Like, did you always edit, or was this
I
really
had
new?
I had shot photos since I was like 16. That was my 16-year-old birthday gift, was a Nikon D3300 because I love photos, and that was that. And then I had I'd made a couple TikToks. I had streamed for a long time, especially for my gaming background. I'd always edited a little bit, so I was kind of just making like gaming editing videos. I would do like little sniper montages for Call of Duty, like stuff that I've been doing sort of on and off. Just being so close in the gaming scene. If you're in the gaming scene, media and content is your lifeline because you don't get to see people face to face unless you're competing or traveling, which a small percentage of people get the opportunity to do. So that was kind of ingrained in me. Media, culture, make stuff, make people laugh. That's why I love the internet. That's what I wanted to do. So COVID, everyone's stuck online. Might as well get really good at trying to make people laugh on the internet. And that worked out.
So then you've been kind of doing that, like currently, is that your main thing is editing?
Yeah. So I am full-time freelance now. I left my job back in June because 2 jobs at the same time was a lot of money, but I had no time to spend it. I had no sense of self. I was worked really horribly. The kind of turning point was I had some issues back in Ohio I had to take care of for a little bit, and I had a friend see me on an Instagram story, somebody from the frat I hadn't talked to in like 2 years, call me and go, are you okay? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, dude, you look like shit. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, dog, like did someone break up with you? Like, are you like okay at home? Like, what's going on? Off of an Instagram story from somebody else. And it wasn't somebody that I was like super close with either. Just somebody who knew me and was like, that's not the person that I kind of grew up or spent time with. So apparently there was a really big change. I was super depressed. And one thing about depression that like really sneaks up on you and it's hard to label is like, it's so hard to tell when you're in it. You kind of just like wake up one day and you're like, oh my gosh, like coffee smells like good. It doesn't just have coffee smell. Like I feel excited about it.
Yeah.
That's really my experience, I suppose, with depression was just like, it's so hard for me to recognize once I'm in it because I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep working, kind of the same endurance athlete mindset. It sucks. I'm so willing to suffer. I will suffer nonstop to get where I need to go with no end in sight or anything. That's not like cross country rowing mindset. So for me, when it gets ugly or it gets gray or it gets just demotivating, like it doesn't actually matter. Like I'm just going to keep doing the things I need to do.
Yeah.
So in a sense, that's really great because I can keep working and doing things through depressive episodes. And that honestly helps me a lot, continuing to try and like brush my teeth and things like that just kind of get out of hand. But at the same point in time, it lets me get farther along before realizing there's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that you mentioned this because literally last night I was talking with some friends and we were talking about like depression and like one of my friends had gone through it and he was like, when it's like this slow lead up and then suddenly you're actually in it and then you don't even know when it started or like when, and then once you get out of it, you look back and in hindsight you can actually see just like how bad it was or how crazy it was. And it's just a very like, and thank you so much for opening up about that. And it's like a lot of people do go through that and I think it's hard for people externally to understand if first of all they've never experienced it, but it's also like the person going through it sometimes doesn't fully understand until after the fact.
Right. And I'm a very upbeat, outdoors, go do the thing, go get them attitude. My favorite trait about myself that I pride myself on is I'm the person who calls everybody. I think of somebody, I call them. Does not matter when, does not whatever. Leave a voicemail, thought of you, idiot. Talk to you soon. Like I'm always like reaching out and like finding people and doing stuff. So like I would be like kind of the last person I think, like looking in a room knowing me, where you'd be like, oh my gosh, you look quiet today or you look down. Like that would be not me, I guess. And I never thought of myself that way either. And to be honest, I don't like think about myself differently at all. But it really is just one of those things where like it kind of sneaks up on you and just grabs you and I can't tell you why or how or what it is. And like my life is good, man. So like I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, that friend is also just like such a great friend to be able to like energetically see from like an image or a video.
That was like, the weird part. Like it was somebody that I probably like, it was one of my brothers in the fraternity, but like I never like lived close with him. I wouldn't like play video games with him all the time. I wouldn't like call him. It was not like he would not be on the first 10 people I would text if I had a free day in the fraternity. And that was like the biggest shock for me was like the fact it was that person. Like if somebody close to me had said that, it would have been like, okay, yeah, support system, let's work on it and figure it out. Or like, I appreciate you saying that. But it was somebody who didn't really know me at all past their old perception of me, seeing such a massive change where I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then that really kind of knocked me into, let's think about it. Let's look at what we're doing. How do I actually feel? And it was like miserable at the time. And I actually was dating somebody at that point in time. And we had only dated for about 6 months or so. And she had only ever known me as that person. So she didn't recognize it, which was really hard.
So she didn't know you as like this, like...
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like a really weird window of time to kind of like accidentally have that happen.
Yeah.
And so in June of this past year, I had broken up with her. I had thought I was going to have to move back to Ohio, run out of money. I had quit my job because I was miserable. And then August, the other full-time job that I had got reduced back massively. So then I was like, well, I'm out of money, sort of. Like, there's a clear runway now. I'm not making what I was. I don't think I'm making sustainable amounts of money. I have 4 months to get my income above a certain level where I have to end my life here and move back to Ohio. And that was 6 months ago.
And I mean, you're still here.
I am
you're
still
here. So it's
I'm still standing.
So the runway is still
It
going,
is.
which is
It
really,
has not changed. And I think the math is wrong, but
I mean, it honestly, I think
the math is good.
sometimes like when you just have faith in like
Yeah.
yourself and like you really have an unknown, you
Yes.
just kind of dive in and just keep going and things just come your way. And I think across the board, I feel like the freelance space in every industry has been tough for a lot of
It's
people.
brutal.
And it's really hard and people are starting to have to like I don't know, I feel like there was a period where like a lot of freelancers were like killing it,
Yeah,
right? And then I don't know, the last year or so I feel like everything has just scaled back. I mean, I think it's the economy
Yeah.
in itself, but like I also think that people are having to pivot and shift and find new avenues
Right,
and
right.
and sometimes that can feel like in a way like humbling,
Yeah.
but I also think that it opens up so many new opportunities
does.
if you allow it.
Yes. And I will say the odd part about freelancing is it's a completely stacked skill set on top of the service you're providing. So if I'm going to somebody and like I went to Saudi Arabia for 3 weeks for a brand called Lenovo. I filmed an event they were at. They were sponsoring it. I went out and filmed and made a bunch of content so they could then internal stakeholder meeting, social media, talk about all this money they spent at this event. There are people out there who are technically, like mechanically, creatively, maybe a step up for me or a half step up for me. But the freelance life and style of going, oh my gosh, I actually don't know what I'm doing next week. I have no idea how much money I'm going to make this month. I have no idea how do I find new clients? How do I bring back old clients? Like there's an entire game of and skill of freelance and it's all unpaid work. You do all this work to land the opportunity to then work and make money. And so that's a completely different skill set that there are people who, like I said, are mechanically, technically, significantly like superior to me, like a step up where I'm like, if they work a commercial, they get hired onto a set, they are brilliant. But just the personality type and the skills it takes to freelance and emotionally regulate. Twice a year, I kind of get hit with, oh my gosh, in 4 months from now, if something doesn't change, I have to pick up my life, end it, and move someplace else. And that's like a regular occurrence. And emotionally, that is super hard to kind of deal with.
Yeah.
That looming over you. But you just, if you have the personality type and skills and support people around you to help deal with that, it can work.
Yeah, yeah. So that period of time, like in June, when you decided to kind of be like, okay, I'm miserable. I want to.
I like nuked my life. And then July went to the Adirondacks into the mountains and like did like nothing and like hid in the woods.
So,
and
like-
then in August, I went to the Middle East. And then I came back in September.
Wow. Okay. So you moved around a bit, but can
Yeah.
you, and you don't have to if you don't want to, but like
Yeah.
going through that period of time, like what was happening internally for you?
It's a really good question. I think internally there was a really deep sense of like relief. Having been like, okay, leaving a job, leaving a scenario that was just like super oppressive and like dominated my life. There was a breath of like, oh my gosh, relief. I can inhale 100%. But then also a sense of like, okay, now I've got this space. Like immediately after going like, oh my God, I've got all this space now. What do I do with it? How do I make money? What do I do with my life? And it was literally like have to leave the work, have to leave the relationship, have that moment of like, oh my gosh, everything's changed. And then 5 seconds later going, oh my gosh, everything's changed.
Yeah.
So I think internally it was just like back to square zero, but having proved to myself I've done it before, I've done it again, and I'm out here in LA doing it. That doesn't happen by accident. And I didn't move out here like with a dream. I got moved out here. So for better or worse, somebody told me I need to be here and invested in me. So it was just a sense of like I'm back to square zero, but it's never really zero. You have the experience with you. You have the time. I've done it once. I'll do it again. So I leaned very heavily on the ego in that period of time.
I mean, that's really inspiring too, because it's just like, it's hard to, especially when it comes to like financial stability, it's hard to leave what feels like cushy or comfortable and then,
That
and
sucks.
like you said, like blow up your life. But like, you were doing 2 full-time jobs
Correct.
then, and obviously that is a lot. And it's like that whole like hustle culture kind of mentality, but like
Yeah.
coming out of that experience, like has your perspectives changed, like how you see working and like, moving forward, or is it kind of still the same mindset that you
It's hard to say. I will say what I'm doing right now would not be possible if I hadn't spent a year straight working 2 full-time jobs, just stacking shekels. You know what I mean? If I don't do that right now, this period of like down period is not possible. So for me, it's like kind of a very yin yang, black and white, night and day. You have to do one and sacrifice, but then it kind of opens up the other, as long as you're making choices that like make sense. So it would have been really easy for me to sacrifice, be miserable all that time, go buy like a really nice car and be stuck with that payment, and then be in the same position having sacrificed but no benefit. So I think it was really just about like sustainability. How that's always been my goal. That's guided everything. Was how long can I stay on stage, in the arena, in this space? How long can I just give myself opportunities to keep playing the game, I suppose. So that's all my decisions are, does this help me continue doing what I love and seeing what if this happens, right? So I never was interested in a sprint, in a hustle grind, 3 months, 1 video every single day. I'm going to blow up in 3 months, 100-day challenge, 75 hard. Personality-wise, none of that really fits me very well.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, what I'm doing today, can I do this for 4 years? Can I do this for 1,200 days straight? If I can do that and find a way to do that, I'm going to win, or I'm going to be successful, or I'm going to be this thing. None of that's defined for me, by the way.
Are you a Virgo?
No.
Are you a Capricorn?
Nope. Uh-oh, chat. We're in trouble. Keep going. Only 10 more.
Wait, but like everything that you've been saying, I'm like, this is so Virgo energy or Capricorn energy. Wait, what are you?
Guess.
Okay, hold on.
I'm not going to, like, I wasn't going to make you guess.
Okay. I have 2 other guesses, but I feel like that they're both going to be wrong.
Maybe. That could be right.
Is it Leo or Gemini?
Yes, it is.
Oh, really?
It is.
Is it Leo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
First try. She guessed it.
No, but like I think
you can edit that however you want.
I think Virgo and Capricorn are super like work ethic wise, but
Yes.
Leo actually does make sense.
I just
Do you even follow astrology? Does it
I
resonate with
I have
you?
it on my end.
Okay.
Kind of for this scenario, honestly.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
I first got exposed to it because the summer camp I went to, they sat us by our astrological sign. So I was at a table of Leos.
What?
I was like 14.
They didn't want to
that was like my
mingle
exposure
other
to
people?
It. I don't know. That was like my exposure to it. It was like, how do we organize everybody? Assign seats, Leo, Capricorn.
Oh my god,
down the
that's so
line.
funny.
That was my first exposure to it, and this was my second.
Oh wow! I'm like super into astrology, so I'm just like, anyway, tangent. But so in this kind of season of your life, obviously, like things have changed since June when a lot of things changed for you. So like, how do you feel in this season of your life currently?
I'm really excited. I think a month ago the answer would be very different because I had that deadline hanging over my head of like, I have a very clear floor economically. If I cross this number for any reason whatsoever for this amount of time, I'm gone. I'm moving. That's like the one thing in my life that's figured out. I know my finances really well. I know where I'm at. There's a floor. If I cross it, I'm out. It's a low floor, but if I cross it, I'm out.
Yeah.
So for me, having figured out 4 months, looking at everything and still being comfortably above that floor, I'm like, wow, okay. That same feeling and fear that I had 4 months ago was very real and like dominated my life for a bit. And I'm still like, I'm so good. Like I'm chilling. I'm comfortable now. So it's acknowledging that like, once again, having to reprove to myself, you can have all that fear. You can have that lack of opportunity, that like stress, that struggle, that deadline hanging over you, and like it'll just work itself out.
Yeah, which is interesting because we actually were going to film this like last month, but we had to reschedule. So
Yes.
I feel like there's always kind of like a reason. I'm like very big on that, where like there's a reason why, like,
I do feel that way.
yeah. So
I'm
it's like,
I'm a fairly spiritual person, but I'm not religious, but I definitely am. I carry a lot of faith with me. But it's not placed in any concrete direction.
yeah, like agnostic kind of like. And
Definitely agnostic. I think like there's some Buddhist principles, especially suffering, something like that. Like I feel that if I suffer, good things will happen.
yeah.
But I don't feel constrained that like good things will only happen if I suffer. But I think it's just a nice little token or helper where like, again, going back to the endurance athletics, nobody ever goes to watch a cross country race, but I'm going to go suffer for months and months and months, and nobody's going to know, nobody's going to watch, and it might not even be successful for me.
But it's also
I'm just
just
gonna
like
do it.
it's an internal thing
It
as
is.
well. And I think that's like, I've talked about this with friends of like, you grow in like discomfort and challenging
Yeah.
situations.
I've been growing a lot.
We love
We've
that.
been uncomfortable.
We love that. But it's like this, I think from what you've been sharing, like I just sense this like extreme amount of like faith and confidence in yourself. And like I can tell that your sense of self is very strong.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you have kind of built that up?
It's hard because we're told nowadays that like, especially as like straight white middle 20s man, confidence in yourself is like bad or kind of frowned upon or kind of attacked at a lot. And for me, it's not necessarily a sense of confidence of like, I am so great, I am so awesome, but it's more in like the ability and the things that I can do and how it can like impact others or like enable other things. So I guess the sense of ego doesn't really come from a place of how I am, but more of like what I've done, I suppose. So it's a more grounded sense of ego of like, I can do that. I can make that happen. And it kind of removes myself from like the myth. Sardonic is the word. My brain is going to a passage from Dune. I love reading. Shout out Frank Herbert. Shout out my boy, Timmy Chalamet, killing it. Dune Part 3 coming out 2026. I don't know, plug whatever you want. But for me, it's like a man must have a sense of the myth that he is in. That's like a small, tiny phrase. But like having a sense of like, oh my gosh, yes, you have to believe you're a superhero. You have to have the ego and the confidence to go out and do something insane, like freelancing, which is like admitting I don't have a job. Enough people are going to find me in a small enough window that I can pay all my things. That's a ludicrous thing to say. But just having that sense of ego to even attempt that, but then also grounding it in like laughing at yourself or knowing that like there's more parts of your life than just that.
I
And
think
that's
there is like a
hard.
very good balance between like ego and humility too. It's not just like you said, being like, oh, I'm the best at everything, but it's like being humble enough, but also believing in like the skills that you have cultivated over time.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
think part of the way that my ego gets maintained is, or managed, I think is a better word, is just that I am such a curious person and I'm really lucky to have access to nonstop people who are like smarter, better, cooler, better dressed, all that than me. So there's always a sense of like deference, I guess, towards others and like the future self, I guess.
Yeah.
If I'm the best thing ever right here today at 24 years old, I'm going to have a bad 25, 26, 27. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so there's just
yeah.
a sense of like, oh my gosh, I've done so much. Turn around and compare it. I'm superior to like I'm superior to my like younger self. And I guess that's the sense of ego. It's more tied to like growth.
How do you, I guess, kind of see and define success for yourself?
Brutal question. No clue. Success for me is being able to stay in the room where it happens, stay on stage, stay in the game. That to me is success because I don't know where I'm going. All the way back to having the same feeling deciding in college, rowing in clear path or gaming in public school, state school, and figure it out. If I can just stay doing what I want to do on my terms for as long as possible, that's my current goal. I don't do super awesome working for other people. Emotionally, I need to feel like connected to my work and connected to the people around me. And it is a little too much for me to ask that from like a corporate space. Like I can't just go there and demand that. Like that's not what it's there for.
Yeah.
But for me, that's really, really important, which is why freelancing is great. But just...
That's a hard question.
Can I keep... It's a hard question, but I think the answer is just as simple as can I keep doing what I want to do? I have to pay people money to live, right? I have to make money. But if I can get over that number, all of a sudden my whole life is my own. And if I can get over that number working for myself or working for a few clients that I really like, that's total freedom, which has a lot of its own problems. But I think that's what makes me happy. That's what I'm going to keep doing for now. Success will change massively when I'm in a serious relationship and in the next decade looking at being like a father. Like, oh my gosh, I'm 34 years old. I've got like 2 kids. Success changes so drastically when that happens. So that's not on my radar immediately, but just looking ahead to the future, knowing what my parents had done for me. My dad went to a private school where the motto of the school was in Latin. I don't remember it, but it translates to each generation surpasses the next. So for me, it's about figuring it out, whatever, but then B plot side quest of, I think when I do have a family, that will turn around and very quickly become like success for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Still undefined. Like, I don't, it's not like my kid's going to actually go to UPenn and grow. Or my kid's going to go be the greatest gamer on the planet. Like, I don't actually have a concrete goal, but I'm just a really good wanderer, I guess. And I make enough money to keep wandering.
That's the best
so
way
that's
to live
success.
life. Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. So with like, I guess your career right now that you've built for yourself, do you see yourself continuing like editing or are there other avenues that you have been dabbling in or curious about?
Editing pay good. Especially being in LA, there's such a surplus of camera talent. People who want to make films, people who want to make movies, people who are in front of the camera, who are behind the camera, who are on sets. There's such a world and a culture out here that's like incredible to witness. But what I do in editing is it's necessary for every single production that happens, but I don't have to be in the room. I don't have to know any of the people. Everybody needs an editor. And there really is a lot of sacrifice that goes into, hey, you're going to sit in a black room for 4 years by yourself. And then you'll be like pretty good at the end of that. And then maybe people will hire you. There's not a lot of really talented editors out there. I still don't think I'm an insanely talented editor, but we've gotten pretty good.
How do you, as an editor, because this is a big part of editing, it's like shaping the story,
Yes.
right? You get to like build that. Like,
The editor, in my opinion, has more control over the story than the director does.
so like, how do you approach like a project? Like when you're editing, like what is that
So
for you?
there's 2 kinds of projects that I'll take on. There's a team of people that I edit with. I don't know if I can talk about it too much, but there's a team of people that I edit with, and we're provided a guide on this is the vision, this is what you're doing, make this happen. And that for me is about taking all those points in those directions, and then what are the small parts of that I can bring to life to make this feel like a lived in whole story. So for me, it's about taking my human experience, looking at something we're trying to fake and replicate, because it's all a stage. It's not real. None of it is. What are the parts of myself that I can put into this that are real? And if all of us put in enough real parts into this thing, maybe it will have life. There's that kind of project. And then there's also the kind of project where like it's just a corporate thing. I do a lot of corporate projects. I'm creatively not very fulfilled right now, but corporate projects pay very well. And for me, then it becomes kind of a marketing strategy perspective of where's their bar at? What do they care about? What's their end goal? And then how do I serve that? It's a much more business brain minded. There's no parts of me going into that. And I make things that I don't think are good, but I know it's good enough. The power of good enough was my 2025 strategy and like, I don't know, mantra. If the client loves it and I hate it, why would I ever put more hours and time into it? They're going to pay me. They love it. They're satisfied. I have to be okay with making something I don't love. So that's been a really, really good kind of dichotomy to then how do I take something I really do care about and put myself into it? And learning to draw that line and be able to do those independently. That's something that I think a lot of creatives struggle with. And I think if people got better at that, those 2 halves of the creative game, you'd make more money.
I mean, fair. That's facts.
I do a lot of creative stuff I don't love. but I'm good at creative, so
I
it
think
makes
that's
money.
also when I got into the creative industry, because I got in like really late in the game, like I pivoted. And one thing that my friend said, who's an amazing designer, was like, don't get so attached to
Yes.
your work,
Yes, yes,
because
yes.
you're right. Like if the client likes it, that they're the ones paying you, so you
Mm-hmm.
really can't do anything about it. But it is nice to have your own like passion project that
Yes.
you get to put your essence and your creativity into.
My mom had a sentence said to me that stuck with me massively when she could see me suffering with like work, suffering with like sense of self, struggling massively, and putting my whole life and stuff into a career that maybe wasn't going to work out. She had told me that like work will never love you back. And that's tough.
Yeah.
For me, I'm willing to love without being loved. So I put a lot of effort and time into it, which I think makes freelancing possible. So for you to put so much of yourself into something that might not turn around, that doesn't have something concrete, that doesn't have people in a company that you're a part of and a community of, you have to be very willing to love without being loved back.
Wow. That's honestly true. I've like literally never heard that before.
Yeah.
But
But because of that, there's other parts of my life that love is super important. And I need to spend a ton of time focusing on loving myself, loving other human beings. Like the human connection part needs to be there to supplement that, or you get stuck in a room by yourself.
so you had mentioned kind of earlier, well, in our chat, that like you got this sense of like validation from being in like the gaming space, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you still have that desire within yourself, or do you think now, like it's been several years, do you feel like you kind of find validation in other ways for yourself?
I think there's a very human desire to do something publicly that everyone agrees is good. I think that is a very overwhelming, heavy sense of validation. You are on top of the world if you do something in public and all eyes are on you and everyone's like, that's dope. But at the same point in time, and this happened in my career, I'll do stuff publicly in front of everybody and they're like, this is bad. You should not work again. I'm not going to let you work again. Not for me. That happens, right? So those are both two things that are going to happen together. You can't have one without the other. So for me, between that, some childhood experiences and other things, I kind of got bonked on the head enough times like, hey, don't do that publicly, or hey, that's not cool, or hey, you're not that. And I think that happened enough that I kind of stopped searching for validation externally, but some other combination of support and love in my life made it so I never actually stopped. I just started doing it by myself. I've found in my life that when I go through loss with people, death, things in my life, I go very inward, very by myself, on my own, very isolatory. And then I just like sit with it. And I think that's where like my love and dependency from art came from, was knowing that I can be alone and know that everything that feels massive and ugly and horrible or incredible, all of those things, I'm not the only person this is happening to. So getting to be kind of the opposite of like being in a room full of people feeling alone, I was in a room by myself feeling like community or art or connection. So that was really big for me, that then I could then emerge back into the world still very loving, still very like supportive and excited and curious.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a couple pieces of media that like really nurtured me through some really tough, like difficult times.
Yeah.
I could tell you one of them's on Netflix.
Wait, what is it?
It's called Anima.
Anima.
It's a short film. It's 10 minutes. It's on Netflix. It's shot by Paul Thomas Anderson and Tom York, who is the front man of the band Radiohead.
Oh.
And so it has original music from Tom York on one of his solo projects, and it's about 10 minutes long. The choreography is incredible. The story is great. The music is awesome. It's about like love and connection and what it means to be an individual, to be a part of a group. It's awesome.
I'll watch it because you said it's 10 minutes. But like,
10 minutes.
But I think that's
We'll watch
true.
it right after this. We'll watch it tomorrow, whatever.
It's like, I actually mentioned
I watched it like
this
50 times. Literally, I would sit in a room and I was like, oh, I feel like shit. I want to watch this. Because I also, something very, very lucky for me, a knee-jerk reaction. I had a really close death in my life when I was like 17. And my knee-jerk reaction was not, alcohol, drugs, sex, any of those things. It literally was, I'm going to sit in a room by myself and like music and like art. I was not a very musical, artistic kid growing up, but for some reason or another, that was I'm going to go be by myself, hide from the world and do that.
I mean, I completely understand that because like I am a very, very open person. Like especially like when I go through things, but I've also found, especially as I get older, like I like to go inward a lot more. And like, this is kind of like silly, but like when I was going through things, I would like see like reels, like Instagram reels or TikToks that have like quotes on them or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would give me so much like solace because I'm like, oh wow, like somebody wrote this because they've experienced or seen someone experience something similar. And that just goes with music too. Like, I don't know, melodically or lyrically, like you just tap into like a different place. And I think that especially when you're going through hard times, like I think sometimes external, even though they're people you love and who love you back so hard, it's like it's hard to kind of allow them into that space when you are so raw in your own emotion.
That was something my mother struggled with heavily. Knowing that I had a really close death in my life, my first semester of college, I had a really close friend from high school who was on like a study abroad quick program, who was then going to come back to Ohio State and be my roommate. And he died while he was abroad. He was hit and killed by a car. That was like horrible. And I remember like, you know, I'm sure from a maternal instinct, like seeing your kid go through something like that, wanting to support and be there for them, and their response being like, you're not my support system. You're not what I need right now. For me, that was mandatory and necessary, but I can't imagine from like a maternal perspective, like you feel like that's your purpose in your life maybe. I could not imagine what that would have been like for my mom on the other side of that. Like I actually can't, like as a very male brain thing, like I could have empathy for, gosh, logically that must be horrible, but like emotionally I have no idea how to like even begin to process that kind of relationship.
I mean, yeah, I think it's hard when people that love you see you going through something so painful and not have the ability to like save you, especially a mom, right? But like I also think that especially a maternal figure loves you even through that.
I know.
You know, and that's like the beauty of like parents and like having your mom like be there and love you and having the awareness to be like, I wish he would let me in, but I also understand why he wouldn't, and I still love him just the same.
For sure. And I think a funny callback to what we talked about earlier with like the friend who reached out to me that kind of opened my eyes was not somebody in like my first or maybe even second circle of love. Love this person, the fraternity brother, so much shared with them. But like for me, it was the opposite of having somebody who was like, does not need to love me, does not need to take care of me, does not even like really be a huge part of my life, saying that. It was like the exact opposite, that like man brain was like, logically, if somebody who doesn't know me that well says I look like shit, I must really look like shit.
Yeah, but honestly, you never know, like for him to have reached out in that way, there's a level of care, right?
Yes.
So there was something that you must have done in his life to,
I guess,
you know,
I never thought about that.
Impact him enough to want to even reach out, right?
Yeah.
So,
I saved him an ambulance trip once. Maybe that was it.
No, but I think like even just speaking with you now, like I can sense your positive energy and your kindness, and like I feel like people probably resonate with that a lot, and like he might be one of those people that just like saw you and then seeing that light in you kind of like falter away. He's like, what's going on? And I think that's a beautiful thing with human connection.
I think it
is. Truly. Wow, Andrew, you have had quite a journey.
We've been getting after it.
Yeah, I have some like more quicker questions.
I'll do my best not to expose our way through this. When I was a kid.
When you were a kid, all my cards get like
Take
messed
your time.
up.
I'll talk to camera for a bit. How we doing, guys? Welcome back. One thing that I think, my hot take for the day, is that science fiction is a critically underrated genre of media in our life, whether it's movies or film or books, because it has to come from someplace. We're imagining the future. The only place that we can start is right now. Science fiction is political commentary with lasers, and that's really cool as a man.
Wait, I actually think science fiction is like very prevalent. Like, I feel like,
tell that to the Academy, who won't give us anything cool.
Wait, you know
Star
what?
Wars was about the Vietnam War, okay?
You know what?
Dune
I
was
actually
a-
realized I watched
Dune was about the Middle East and the oil crisis.
3 days ago, I
Wrote
think.
that bad boy.
I think it was 3 days ago. So I have watched Arrival before,
Yes.
but I watched it again 3 days ago.
Ooh.
And I was like, I definitely didn't get this the first time I watched it, because watching it this time, I was mind blown. Like, I've been thinking about it nonstop since,
no.
because I'm just like, my mind can't compute it. Like, it's like, wait, what's going on here? Like, the whole time is not linear, and
Yes.
like everything affecting.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, my brain is exploding right now.
Yes.
But I think it's like one of my favorite movies now.
Arrival? That's so cool.
That movie is just
That's also
like,
Denis, I think, who also did Dune.
you're right. Yes, yes, yes.
Go team.
I didn't actually watch the first Dune.
That's okay.
I watched the second one though. And
Second one's
I
great.
really
First one
enjoyed
is
it.
really just builds the people and the relationships in the world into the second one. Both those movies encompass the first book.
Did you read the books?
Hell yeah.
Okay, you're a reader, huh?
I'm a reader.
English.
I picked up Stephen King when I was a kiddo. That fucked me up for sure. Can I say that? That screwed me up for sure.
Oh yeah, you
Stephen
can.
King
You
as a
can cuss
kid.
on this.
Well, so a lot of my like work stuff, I've been on camera and like I've done voice for a lot of brands. And, so,
And
like,
they're
in
like-
my brain, it's like I have a default setting of like I don't swear.
Okay, well, you're free to.
The
here.
hardest part was like if I like stream video games for a brand, playing horror games without swearing is tough.
I'm sure. I'm
That's
sure.
hard.
What's your actually favorite genre of media?
My favorite genre of media. Photography is incredible because the art happens twice. You look at the experience of the person capturing it, but then also because it's a still single image that you walk up to and look at, it gives you so much space to put yourself into it.
Yeah.
Music, it happens right at you. There's also, I mean, every art has the artist making it as art and then the experience of it. But music happens so much at you. There's not a lot of room. You could put emotions and feelings into it, but the order of events is already determined. Same with
Yeah.
movies. But
Yeah.
photos I love because you walk up to it and it can happen in any number of orders. There's so much room in photography to engage with it.
Yeah.
So you have to get something specific enough that there's something to grab onto and anchor somebody to then engage with. Photography is kind of hard to engage with. Like I can look at something and go, doesn't get me, and I just move on. But if you can get somebody, I think photography is beautiful with all the room it creates for the person to interact with.
Yeah, for sure. So this is a
You? How about you?
What about me?
What do you mean, what about you? Same question. Your favorite form of art?
Oh, I think for me, I think for me is music.
Yes.
Yeah, I have always been really attached to music. I connect with it a lot. I like every kind of genre. Besides like screamo metal, I just like I can't really fuck with that. But like everything else, like music has really been like so powerful for me in my life. So definitely music.
What's the first song you remember in life? Chronologically.
Remember in life?
Doesn't have to be when you were like
Insane. I don't
4,
know.
but just right now in your brain. Like if the oldest song you can remember is the song you heard when you were 16, that's the answer. But try and go far back as you can.
What's the song that's like Country Road?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where were you when you heard that?
I was
What
just like a
going
little
on?
kid because my dad would, for some reason, I don't know
Take me
why.
home.
Yeah, I don't know why my dad loved that song so much, but
Mountain
yeah, like that was
Mama.
his favorite, and
Take
so
me
we would
home.
always listen to that.
Like Cars?
Cars. I remember I was in cheer when I was younger, and when I was in 6th grade, we drove to Vegas. And the entire ride, he was singing it, and I literally
no.
was losing
I'm sorry.
my
I'm
mind.
so
And I was
sorry.
like, "Please, no more."
That's awesome.
Oh my god. Okay, but for 2026, I guess what are you looking forward to?
I am really looking forward to 2026. What am I looking forward to? I'm gonna avoid my knee-jerk reaction, which is to talk and then figure out the sentences I go. So
Take your time.
Give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
2026 will be the first full season I own an Icon Pass. So snowboarding
Oh, yeah,
is
you
going to
have
be
been
awesome.
boarding a lot.
Yeah. Snowboarding is going to be something I'm really looking forward to. Getting into the dating pool, like more seriously and like kind of knowing where my feet are as much as one can as a freelancer is something I'm really looking forward to. What else? My work. I hope I'll be back in the Middle East in August. It was a 2-year contract, so pretty sure I'll be back there. That's a wild experience, and kind of, it's so different from everything else in my life. So it really is just a fun like blip in the road to kind of shake everything up. To just continuing to make enough money to live in LA.
Yeah. Do you love LA?
I didn't when I first moved out here, and I used to talk shit about LA.
Oh, I'm sure you did. I'm sure
I was in the Midwest, and I was like, I already know everybody I need to know. Like, I've done all my things. My people from the Gears of War scene have gone all over the world. They've gone on to other things, and I'm still friends with them. Like, I know everybody I need to know. Why do I want to pay $2,500 for rent? Screw that. Whatever. And then I moved out here. First year I was out here, I was miserable because I was working the 2 jobs. I had no free time. I was just physically and mentally unwell. And then now, after like a solid 10 months of like not doing that, I'm like, LA's pretty tight.
LA is.
I can go to the beach and the mountains.
I love LA. I mean,
Hell yeah.
but I've been here forever, so it's like it's different for me.
Yeah.
But do you think that you're gonna like? Do you see yourself planting back in Ohio?
Ohio is an amazing place to live because it's in the Midwest. The culture is strong. The cost of living is so cheap compared to out here. I think it's an amazing place to live if you get the opportunities to travel and experience other things. Maybe that's like a 30, 35-year-old decision where I'm like building a house and finding a life. But I don't see myself going back unless I need that community or I need a safer place to like live cheaper and get my feet under me.
Makes sense. Okay. What keeps you grounded?
Shoes.
Wait, nobody else said that before. No, but yeah, like
what keeps me grounded? Probably my little sister, somebody who lives an opposite life of me, and we share a lot of very similar ways of looking at the world. So someone who could not be more different than me, being so close with them is a good reminder of like, I don't know, just how different we all are, but how similar we all are.
what do you do when you're stuck creatively?
Walk and run, physically move my body and stop thinking about it.
Are you like a big runner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love running.
But I'm the kind of person where like I've run my whole life, but now I don't run that much. So like once every couple months, I'll wake up and I'll be like, today's the day, and run a half marathon. And it sucks. No, it's not fun. I'm not doing it fast. It's not pretty. This isn't a flex because I don't do it often enough that I get better at them. So it's just like every 4 to 5 months, I run a horribly hurt my body. I hate this half marathon. And then 4 or 5 months later, I've lost all my cardio and I just suffer again.
I'm like thinking about doing a half this year.
Oh my gosh.
Like I'm thinking about it. I love
you can
running,
do it.
but I don't do like long distance. I'll do like 5 miles, 6 miles max.
That's fine. If you can run 6 miles, you can run 26. It's just a question of like calories and math.
We'll see about that.
I'll do it. We gonna get it.
One thing that you're proud of, but you don't say enough.
One thing that I'm proud of that I don't say enough. I say a lot. I'm really proud of my little sister navigating life the way that she is with all of her chaos. So it's not something that I'm proud of about me. I kind of say that, put that out there. And if I'm not my own biggest cheerleader, who will be? So I'm kind of by default my biggest cheerleader. The thing that I'm proud of that I don't say enough is how proud I am of my little sister. Who's jamming, killing it.
Sweet.
She's
You say she's a pilot.
She's
So
the
like,
assistant chief pilot at the CVG base for Endeavor.
so like, is she
She's-
always
she's-
in different places though?
Yeah, let's just check where she's at right now.
Oh, you're finding location.
Yeah,
Being a pilot is crazy. That's
so.
so sick.
She's in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there she is right now.
Oh my God. What's one skill that you're grateful you taught yourself?
Time. Emotions don't happen in an instant. Give it enough time, and a lot of them will find their true selves. If you have an emotion and you have it for 10 seconds, that's not a real emotion. It's a reaction to something else. If you have an emotion for a week, that's an emotion.
That is a gem right there.
Yeah.
Wow, you have a lot of gems. I'm like, because whenever I podcast, I like I'm like, oh, like, you know, the clips.
Yeah.
And I was like, Andrew giving me good
Yeah,
clips.
for that. But the skill is, how do I emotionally regulate myself for a long enough period of time to decide whether this is a real permanent thing or this is just passing. So having routine, concrete, physical things to do that are not mental will help you buy enough time to realize, hey, does this need change and help, or is this just life?
But that's also like such a like high self-awareness thing, because like to even have that realization of like, is this emotion like a fleeting thing, or is this something that I actually truly feel? People won't even give it the space to get there.
Yeah.
You know? So that's awesome. What does home mean to you right now?
Really good food.
What's your favorite food?
Everything. We cooked as a family. My 21st birthday gift was something called the Black Book, which was a collection of all the recipes that as a family we've made or tried or got off the internet, where all four of us said thumbs up, print out the recipe, Xerox it, goes in the Black Book. So we all cook in my family. Both my parents, my little sister, me. So my 21st birthday gift was my own small copy, empty copy of the Black Book that now I get to fill out and build.
Oh, I love that.
So home to me means really well cooked food.
Okay. But is there something in LA that
LA home. See, I'm not even like
No,
wired here
but
yet.
like but being in LA, is there something that you're like, this is bomb food wise?
Oh, like a replacement of that, like my
Yeah.
proxy. There is. What is it?
Or like a favorite restaurant or a
Favorite restaurant? I have I have some date tech if you want. Great date.
Sure.
Uovo. Anywhere you go,
okay.
it's nice. It's really easy menu because you can just choose between 3 like flights and it'll take you through a bunch of courses. Super affordable. 2 people with like glasses of wine each, you can get away with for like $115. There's no tipping. It's built in. You go. It's a cool environment. Excellent food. They fly all the noodles out of Italy. It's dope.
Okay,
That's like
okay.
bang for your buck if you're trying to like kind of put it on. UOVO, a couple locations.
Hot
tip.
One word for this chapter of your life. Well, you said you had a 2025 mantra.
Yeah, it's hard to speak to the future because I know so little about what's going to happen.
Right.
Mine was like the power of good enough. Know where good enough is. Know where your end is. Don't just struggle incessantly into the future. Know where the line is. Get there and then move on. My 2026 is sustainability. Like how long can I keep my head above water financially, be in a place and continue developing out relationships and places and things and work career stuff? If I have to pick up and move, that is a really big change, positively and negatively, to my career. And I'm happy with where we're going. So all my efforts are on like sustainability. Can I keep putting my output out for as long as I need to? And can we stay where we are? Keep doing what we're doing. Make sure that Andrew stays Andrew.
What with that then, I think this will be the last question.
Okay.
What would you tell your younger self?
That's a really great question. There's like 40 things. We would chat it up. The one thing I would tell my younger self is we've only made good decisions. Like be so at peace with the decisions that you've made. It's always been the right decision. And whether that's a question of, is there a wrong decision? Maybe all the decisions are good, but you've not made a wrong decision.
Wow, that's beautiful. I think everything that, like the way that you have been speaking through this podcast, I was just like, you've just kind of trusted your journey in this really beautiful way.
Yes.
Like no matter what pivots, no matter where you had to go, even when you isolated after like leaving your job and your relationship and having that moment where it's like, oh my God, we're starting over, but also like, oh my God, we're starting over. And there's a relief to that.
Yeah.
I think just everything that you have kind of experienced and gone through has somehow like paved a beautiful way for you. And I think that that's just going to continue.
Yeah. Something I really want to stress, especially in this context of like a podcast and a short kind of glimpse into somebody where you're like, they're cool. I like them. Let's put something we like on camera. It's really easy to put like the best of ourselves out there. It's really important for me to clarify that even though I can speak on that, that's all the past. It's easy to critique and talk about and review because it's already happened. Even though there's themes of like faith and trust in myself and working it out, I could wake up Tuesday and be like stressed as hell, terrified. Like it is not clean and simple. I'm like put together and can talk about it well and think about it. That doesn't translate to my future's great. I'm going to figure it out. I have this all-encompassing smoothness and like confidence in myself. Not the reality.
Yeah. Everything ebbs and flows. Like that's
Yes.
just the journey of life.
Very much so.
Oh my gosh, Andrew, this conversation was so fun. I got to know you so much more, and I just appreciate it.
Cards have backs to them.
What do you mean?
Give me this.
What? Actually, my branding changed, but this was a
V1. These are limited edition. You can't get these anymore.
Oh my god! Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Come back anytime.
I would love to. Where are we? Where are we at time wise? Like, do you have an
hour 30?
Is there like an out for you?
What do you mean?
Can I ask you questions?
Oh, I do have an out because it's my friend's birthday. But
way more important things happening. See you in the next one.
Thank you so much. See you next time.